And in that case, it's like delivering a message a little bit nicer. And I don't have a massive issue with it. It's just when you're young, you don't know how to deal with it.
I
And
would, if you're trying to deliver a message, me personally, I would prefer for my friend to just tell me straight up instead of try and make a fool of me out of other people. You know what I mean?
I do agree with you there. Um, how would you say, Alfio, when we spoke on Monday, the feedback that I gave you was?
Merely a donkey. Nicholas, merely a donkey. Cut.
I'll give you 3 circumstances. One circumstance, it is true. Another circumstance, it is for, let's say, conversational or social gain. And number 3, it is they don't know you well enough and they're making a misjudgment. So, in my case, I would say a lot of the times where I would feel like belittled would be for situational or social, conversation. For example, it's not even that offensive. Would say things like that, or like anyone would say, not necessarily like. I'm also sure I would have also said that things that were offensive for social gain, and it's just like that type of feedback you could say is typically it's like taking someone else's feelings and putting it on yourself tenfold because everyone else now thinks that you're the funny guy. And again, I don't even think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just that when you're young, you don't know how to deal with it. And I just didn't know how to deal with it. And I'd say that's consistent for pretty much all kids. And if they don't know how to deal with it and they don't find it offensive, they're probably not even just dealing with it correctly. It's just you're young. You just don't know how to deal with things. So in that situation, the advice that I'd give to my younger self or to anyone in that situation, it's like you just have to hack it until you understand a little bit more about yourself. And the anecdote that I'll give is that if you know yourself, you don't find things offensive. And I'll reverse engineer that whole process. For you guys, this is probably a new concept to you that I haven't spoken to you about, but with Jack, it's what we talk about a lot. And it's actually what the sculpted logo is. It stands for 3 pillars. Okay? The 3 things that I know that I am, that if anyone ever judges me on something and it doesn't reflect those things, either they're right or they don't know me well enough. So I'll give you these 3 things. And I've got 3 things I've got 3 things that I strive to be every single day in 3 different areas of my life. So personal, faith, and then work. If someone ever says anything to me that is feedback, you could say, outside of those 3 things, then they don't know me well enough. So for example, if someone criticizes my professionalism, I would say, you don't know me well enough. Okay? I've had that before. People have criticized my professionalism, and to me, I just think, okay, that's fine. I understand how you may think that, although you don't know me well enough to really know that professionalism is one of my strengths, let's say. And I mean professionalism in many facets, not just the way that I appear or etc. So if someone actually says, and I use this as the literal filter. So anything that feedback-wise, you could imagine a sifter and a filter here, all different shapes and sizes. Anything that doesn't fit my filter, whether it's a star shape and my filter doesn't have a star shape in there, that means that it will just bounce off the filter. Okay? Anything that doesn't actually reflect who I am will get bounced off because they don't know me well enough. It's just misjudged. And misjudgments are completely fine. I've got no issue with them because I misjudge so many people and vice versa. There's no issue with misjudgments. It just means that they don't know you well enough. Now, if one of those feedback things are true and it's negative and it fits through your hole, let's say it's a circle that falls into your circle and it goes into the filter and it comes out the other side, turns out that was true. And it's actually constructive criticism. Even though it may be delivered differently, it actually has the purpose of truth, which is actually going to just make you better. And let's say for the social game, it could be true, but it could be delivered poorly, which goes through your filter, but it kind of like disrupts it. And it's like, it makes me feel bad because of the external validation that it gave that person. And I kind of became the butt of the joke. And that's where it becomes a little bit techie. And in Australia, that's quite often the form of criticism. Even with Jack and I, actually, to be fair. Like, Jack and I will give each other criticism back at each other that we know is rooted in truth, but it's like we're delivering it more politely. And I have no issue with that as well. And we make jokes about that through the 3 of us as well. Like, we'll make jokes about that specific instance. And in that case, it's like delivering a message a little bit nicer. And I don't have a massive issue with it. It's just when you're young, you don't know how to deal with it.
I
And
would, if you're trying to deliver a message, me personally, I would prefer for my friend to just tell me straight up instead of try and make a fool of me out of other people. You know what I mean?
I do agree with you there. How would you say, Alfio, when we spoke on Monday, the feedback that I gave you was?
I thought you. I didn't think you were doing it in the way you were just explaining. I thought you were just doing it as a mate and just telling me straight up, and I appreciated that.
Would you say that's the type of feedback you'd prefer?
Yeah, for sure. Any time of the day, I prefer someone to just.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, I did.
It was my sister opening the window, but I thought that was bugs.
Oh,
Jewel, don't do that again, please.
we'll get this guy in therapy for bugs.
Okay, back on topic. Sorry, Alfio.
No, it's all
That
good.
feedback you prefer.
Yeah, for sure.
I much prefer that feedback as well because I would want someone to give me that type of feedback.
Mm.
I wouldn't say that I have many people giving me that feedback. It's also like I would say, Alfio, you demand respect, therefore I give you respect. If there was someone who was to not respect me or I don't demand that much respect, then I kind of garner myself a different type of feedback where people just make fun of you. And I'd say that I'm probably a little bit more susceptible to that because I'd say that I come across arrogant and a bit of a prick. Therefore, people like want to belittle me a little bit,
Like you said, I feel like that's to the people who don't know you very well. There.
which is why I'm so okay with people not liking me. It's why I can't say that on the podcast. It's why in specific instances I can walk into a place where.
What you was gonna say?
Sorry.
I'm just wondering what you were gonna say now.
I'll say it without saying it, and you'll know what it is. I think I can work into a specific place and know that not one single person likes me here, and be completely okay with it. And I'm not going to treat them any differently because I know that they don't like me. But I will still treat them as if they're normal people and as if they're as valuable as the next person, even though I know that they don't like me, they don't agree with anything I say, and they treat me differently because of it. Do you guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Charles, do you maybe?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So in that situation, I'm so okay with it because I know that they just don't know me well enough. I also know that they don't want to know me well enough because they've already made an established opinion on me. It's like they won't even put in the groundwork to understand where I come from because they don't like me that much.
Mm.
And it's like at that point, just don't like me. That's all good with me. And I just have to live with it, and it's okay to me because I know that the people who actually do know me, like you boys, I think that you guys, no matter what I do, within reason, of course, I think that you guys can always understand, at least ideologically, the stance that I come from. And that's also the same with you, I feel. Like, if you ever say anything to me and I'm like evaluating your decision or your process in there, I will judge the way you react, but I also will understand where you come from. And it's the exact same with you, Charles. Like, if you have X action, but I'm like, I actually know where the intention comes from, and I won't give the exact example. But Alfio, if I was to say...